you are new to Roundtables, this is an opportunity each month where the community comes together and we just have a conversation about a variety of topics that are related to bullet journaling. And really, because there's a lot of wisdom in the room, it is really lovely to ask questions and share insights. Because if you saw on my post yesterday about how long have you been bullet journaling, there are some people who've been doing this for a long time and have a lot to share. So this is great for all sorts of experience. If you are not actively talking or you're, doing something in the background, feel free to mute. We are recording this for other people so they can see what we're up to. But this is really just for a free flowing conversation where I'll start off with a question and turn it over to you guys. If you have comments, insights, questions, reactions, that's what this time is for. If you would like to share on the mic and you don't want to interrupt somebody, there's a button on the bottom called reactions. You can press that and press raise hand, and we'll know that you want to jump in and say something. Okay. Happy day after bullet journal day, everybody. Okay. So nice to see all of you. That's enough about me. That's enough about me. My first question is really about the theme around digital and analog. In the past, I've seen a lot of people talk about, digital versus analog, when really now we live in a time where we incorporate elements of both oftentimes. I think the number one misconception is that, can't bless you. The number one misconception is that you are a bullet journalist and you're a hardcore bullet journalist, and that means that you can't use any digital apps. And that is not true. So, Ryder himself, he clears this up often by talking about how digital calendars are a major part of how he works and how many of us work. So you're not it doesn't have to be purely analog. You don't have to do everything in your notebook. It makes sense to use a digital calendar in times like this. Um, so what other tools are people using, or what questions do people have about different digital apps that they've integrated with the whole system? Feel free to add it in the chat or just go off mute and just answer the question.
I would love to hear from people who do use digital calendars and what that integration looks like on a daily basis. So I understand, of course, we put all of our event, maybe you put all your events and appointments in there. But when you're doing your, whether it's your morning or evening reflection or both, what does that look like? Are you just noting what's in your calendar? Are you adding it to your bullet journal? Do they forever separate? I'm one that looks at my Google Calendar in the morning and then puts my appointments in my book. But that doesn't mean I won't look at both, right? But yeah, I was curious to hear how other people do the integration, because I don't think Jessica's right. I don't think it's a big secret that so many of us do both. And can't see, I could never see myself not having a digital calendar because it changes so often. And I work as a therapist and my appointments are put in by somebody else. And so I have no choice but to use it. So yeah, just wanted to jump in, and I would love to hear from others on how that works for you.
Well, I just put my 2 cents in. This is Raphael. Hello. I'm new to bullet journaling, but I'm not new to, planning and organizing. But the integration that I've been noticing with bullet journaling together with digital tools is that for more of a personal life kind of thing, I use the bullet journal. And then for more of a work life related, I use digital tools, because there's a lot of other people involved. There's calendar switching all the time. There's constant change. So it's still going to be Google Calendar. But if, I have to pick up dry cleaning, I don't have to put that on my Google Calendar. I can, I probably use my bullet journal for that. So I'm trying to manage it in that way. Personal, I use analog, and then professional, I use digital.
Hey everybody, I live in France. I'm an English teacher, and when I started my business, I was only in the bullet journal because I had serious eye problems. I just couldn't manage I couldn't manage the computer for a long time. And then I realized that my business had to go really online with COVID. And uh, I've been using Google Calendar and Google Meet now for probably before the lockdown here in France. What I use is I use the calendar, especially with events when I have to have meetings with my students. And at my reflection time, I write down my daily log. The thing that makes it interesting is during the classes, I take notes in my bullet journal next to the name of the event on my daily log. And I'm able to remember to send out information and write down things that I need to work on the next time with them. It's just so much better than just typing it on the computer. I don't think I can switch back to just our digital planning. All the notes that I need, I take in my bullet journal, for instance.
That's really cool. Seeing it being that, people are using digital apps that they share with other people. Other people integrate their digital calendar differently. Honestly, I'm looking at it all day. It's just like always on a tab that's open all the time.
Right.
I think that's right.
Such a big challenge too is, I used to be an executive, and when I had that job, everything changed so fast and so much that it was irresponsible for me to try to have an analog calendar, because whenever I moved to an analog and then I started looking here, that would change. People would add things and I would have no idea. What I know I do is I have a master bullet journal index that I used to have in Evernote. It's currently in Notion. But it's a single master index for all of my bullet journals that are, organized alphabetically by subject, so that if I ever think there's something important that I'll need to find later, this is the best place to go do it. You could do it analog too, but that's another way that I was reminded of.
Other integrations or questions, Michael?
Yeah, hi. To Brian's question, how to merge the digital with the analog with appointments. The way I try to do it is I have all my appointments in my digital calendar, and at the end of the day, in the evening reflection, I write down what was on this day, what was this day about. I don't write it down in the morning to see, okay, what's up, because that's in my calendar already. I don't have to copy it again. But in the evening, I try to reflect what was this day about. And I try to write down three things. What did I enjoy today? What did I do well today? Because I suck at being praised for myself. And what I'm looking forward to tomorrow.
I love that little routine, the little reflection piece.
Yeah, that's good. I like that.
Other ways that you've integrated the digital, maybe an app, with the ways that you bullet journal, or questions about something specific?
One thing that I'm starting to notice is that after I have like a complete physical bullet journal, like of what's my year, all, and I start having, more and more of this content, I would love to have it like augmented with, what things that the digital world brings. And I know there's a companion app for bullet journal, which you can take pictures of the pages that you worked on and things like that. But it's just a picture. Like, we have the technology already for maybe doing optical character recognition and extracting the contents. Apple is going to release the new iOS that you take a photo and it detects the text in the photo. So you're able to extract the contents from the photo. And then, I'd love to get to a point where we're able to just have a digital twin of our bullet journals with all the content in it, so we can access it from anywhere. That would be like the best possible scenario for me.
Sometimes I don't go with my bullet journal everywhere. Right now, I'm using a B5, which is larger than the standard A5. But when I go grocery shopping, I use Google Keep as my notes app, and I have one sticker on there that is specifically for my errands and grocery shopping, because then I don't have to carry my my notebook into the grocery store with me. So that's like one of the apps that I for sure know, like that's where my grocery list is going to be. My recipes are in there. And so it makes sense to have that all together and it's portable. So as long as I know that that's where that is, that's been really helpful for me.
So, my wife and I are both, we both happen to be on Android. And so our shopping list, one of the reasons it's not in the bullet journal is just because it doesn't make sense for, if you're married or you have a family and people need to have access. But I know that with like Google Home, we can just say, hey, add this to the shopping list. And both of us, I set it up so when either one of us goes to the store, we can pull up the shopping list and anything either one of us have been added in there. But there's frequently times where I'm not in a position that I can holler out to, Google Apps, that I need to add something. And then, it goes in the bullet journal first. And then during, reflection time, it'll get added to the digital grocery list.
I think that's a really good example of where digital tools are actually the right tools to use is whenever it's something that's shared. Because obviously your bullet journal is something that's personal to you. And when you're sharing with somebody, digital tools just really come into their own.
The bigger point that I want to make on a lot of these things is like the bullet journal and the things that you do in your bullet journal. I found that finding an application that works for how you work is kind of the thing that you need to look towards. So my Evernote story is I've used Evernote for about 11 years now. And I very carefully have been looking at the updates that they've done, this current year. So they have added in things like task lists or linking your Google Calendar into Evernote, and just kind of looking at that and playing with it some. And I just realized those are features that I just wouldn't ever use in Evernote. So I've actually made the decision to go with a different application. It's Mac specific. Sorry. It's called Keep It. It essentially does the same sort of things as Evernote, but all your information is kept on your local computer. It's not proprietary to Evernote's database. But that's something that works for me. The new Evernote is really cool, and I would encourage people to look at it. You may find stuff there that works for you, but I just kind of made this decision because it just works better for me the other way.
Yeah, thanks for reminding us that we don't need to jump on every fancy new app that we see, because that's how I kept going into Notion. Lisa, the name of the app for the Mac, I think is what, Keep It? Okay, yeah, it's called Keep It. Wendy.
Hey, Jessica. It's awesome to have each of these discussions. I'm like, yes, people get it. This is just nice to hear. Yes, and I'm nodding, and even though I don't have my camera on, I'm nodding a lot, saying yes, this is great. One quick point: that ecosystem matters. I mean, if you're not like many of us who are ADD about the different things and going, start with the ecosystem that you're in. If you're in Apple, start there. If you're in Windows, start there. Go with like Office and things like that. I think one question I have for the group is, as we're talking to these different tools, and I am like Brian and others that trying out all the tools, and I forget, okay, maybe why I didn't like this or didn't, where to know, how do I keep track of that? And then also, when I do find a good tool, how do I make that work with I shouldn't say make it worse. That sounds like, you're forcing it, but how do I integrate that well with my bullet journal? You know what I mean? Because I'm a very techie person and always working, and maybe sometimes they don't work, but I just wonder if you have any tips on that.
Well, I think what, who was the gentleman that was talking about his morning or his reflection that he does? Was that you, Michael? Yeah. So I think what I've discovered is that ultimately I'm the hinge for these things. Like what matters the most is that I am, having that time during the day where I'm sitting down and using my tools, regardless of what those tools may be. And, because without that, then I just start, if I'm just willy nilly throughout the day, that's where I start feeling like I'm falling apart or things aren't connecting. I have alarms. I have a lot of alarms because of ADHD, because I am chronologically myopic. So I sometimes need something to tell me to do something. And so I use honestly, my main function for the bullet journal companion app is that it has a specific noise it makes that nothing else makes at specific times that says, sit down and get your book, get your calendar and do your thing. And that, I think those moments are what make the integration work best for me.
Hey, coming into this group, I was trying to think about what applications I used alongside my bullet journal, and I was like, oh, it's just my calendar, but actually there's quite a few things that I use that I didn't actually kind of realize because it's sort of indirect, but I of course use it's not Google Calendar. It's called A Calendar Plus, and it's my favorite calendar. But I'm also taking a nursing program. So there's an app that my college uses. And it's very much a necessity for me because it has my schedule, my classes, all of the like PowerPoints and syllabus and everything. So I very much have to use that to help schedule my day. But also Keep Note. I also use it for shopping lists. I just can't like if I just like you said, in the grocery store, I can't have my notebook open, right? It's like an A5, right? So it's still clunky when it comes to shopping, but I do carry it around with me. And then of course, I read. So I have the Kindle app on my phone. I'm not a big note taker of books. I just read for fun, um, but that is also on my phone, and I make book lists, if I start a series or something like that. But that's how I integrate my my apps with my Bujo.
I think the hardest part for me is that I work on a lot of my days spent working on teams. Like I have a couple different jobs and they're with other people. And I don't always keep those notes just in my bullet journal. There's a lot of that needs to happen. And so sometimes it's how do I keep track of some of those things when I also have to communicate it with others? And it makes more sense to organize it in a way that I can quickly share with others. So I use Google a lot because that's my work is strong Google Campus, and then it translates between my Mac computer and my Android phone. It's like pretty instantaneous. And Google Docs now has like check boxes, which has changed my life. So um, trying to keep those two things talking to each other can be really challenging. And when there's long-term deadlines, I tend to just put them in my Google Calendar or send my future self an email because I can schedule those. And I can just when I think about details of a project, I can just quick email myself and I literally write to future Jessica, you have to think about these things for this project. And then I schedule it for a couple weeks out.
This is reminding me of a process that I've done in the past, and I haven't been real consistent, but it's been helpful. And this is where a bullet journal comes in handy, is just do a collection. And I've gone through and written down, well, what are all the apps that I actually have installed that I use? And what are apps that I've tried? And part of it is doing a reflection of, well, this is something I tried, but I abandoned it. Why did I abandon it? Here's an app that I consistently use. Why do I use it consistently? And I guess kind of the further thought would be, well, how does this app fit in with my bullet journal practice? And just kind of, because I know that the tendency is you try something, you move on, you try something, you move on, and you don't keep track of what happened. And then down the road, an app will resurface and you're like, oh yeah, there's that app. And I remember looking at it at some point. And then you go back and you're like, why did I not use that? And I've found over time that, I land where things help the most. And I won't go look at things that don't help.
I think Jessica and I have discussed this. I think we're both guilty of the cult of the new. Like we like see something. Like I found out about this incredible couple that created their own task manager thing that's amazingly customizable. It's called Amazing Marvin. And it is amazing. But it doesn't matter what they make. It doesn't change the fact that I have like raging ADHD. And if I put my like Bujo things into a digital app, it might as well be a vortex. It's a black hole, right? I put it all in and then I never look at it. It's like, at least if I have my bullet journal and I have a bunch of stuff to do, it's clearly a bunch because it's taking up physical space. Like I can look and go, oh my God, this is a list, right? Or, hey, look, this list is almost done. But when it's digital, it's out of sight, out of mind. And I can't tell you how many times I had to learn this over and over again. Anytime I see something new, and I'd love to say that I've learned that, but you show me something shiny and it might happen again. But yeah, that's a very good point about being mindful about applications.
I completely agree with Brian. Everything that is digital seems to be kind of, what's the word for it? It doesn't, it's not tangible, right? And if it's not tangible, it doesn't feel real. So I can have 1,000 files here on my computer, but I don't see them. I can pick up a book and find things on my index card sheet like a lot faster than I can find it on my computer, because there's the visual, like spatial organization is something that is very real for me. So when you walk around a physical space, you get the feeling of where things are, and in a virtual space, it's in your desktop, in folders inside of folders inside of folders, or it's in different apps, and it's very, very hard to to keep in touch with those things because they're untouchable.
That makes so much sense. And Matthew, that's such a good point, because I think that's something that we can all take away is there's so many apps out there. They are meant to be dazzling and shiny. And I'm a huge novelty seeker. So yes, I will go and set them up. But somebody was saying how, we quickly um, realize that we're not going to use it. And for me, it's also the out of sight, out of mind. I have my bullet journal open all day. If it's written in there, I'm going to see it. And that's why I haven't done a fully digital bullet journal. People will just start using the digital app for their iPad for their bullet journal. But once that screen goes to sleep, those tasks do not exist anymore for me. So as long as I know that about myself, I can make better choices about what will work for me. And so I'm curious how other people have learned, like, oh, I know that this is one guideline that I'm going to use to weed out the apps that will not be useful for me. Yeah, Michael.
Think that the question is always, what can this app do that my Bujo cannot do? So the calendar is clear. You can share the calendar and change it all around all the time. And with the notes app, like Evernote, you can put links in it, you can put pictures in it. That's my main reason. You can keep the list for years and you don't have to migrate them into a new book. So that's why I keep some lists in Evernote and some others in my Bujo. And when you ask yourself that question, and the only answer is that it looks so cool and it's new, then probably a Bujo can already do that for you.
And there's something to be said too for, like, I've used, Notion and Evernote and Amazing Marvin, and, I've tried, OneNote and Outlook and all these things, and all of them have had their benefits of one sort or another. But the one thing that none of them ever had was like this. I have never, like, bullet journal has resulted in a level of community. Like, I have a dozen friends I would have never had if it wasn't for bullet journal. Like, the way people get personally involved in it, and the collaboration that's involved in it. Like, there's not a lot of collaboration in Evernote, right? Like, you can there's like a Reddit there's like a subreddit about it, but there's never been anything like this. Even before, Ryder started that's my term for it. They, even on Facebook, when you were in a bullet journal group, it was far more interactive and lively than anything I've ever been involved with, with all these other digital applications, which, your mileage may vary, but for me, it's made a big difference.
Bilpa.
So, hi everyone. I practically don't use anything digital. So like here we only use Outlook for scheduling the meeting room. And I have a problem since I started Bujo because I forget to put it on the calendar because mainly I've tried along the years a lot of apps and um, some systems that I found. There was always a gap, or it was way too difficult to insert the information. And by the time I just like, I don't have the time for this, a notebook would be much easier. So I started Bujo back in March last year. But I already used a lot of notebooks before, just not with the system. So this year, I just basically tried to understand what was I missing in my Bujo. And finally, like 3 months ago, I just started doing this. So every day of the week, the 5 days, and the calendar. So I just love the time here, and the rest of the tasks just go here, and I just keep um, doing and scheduling. And if I need it, I move it without the need to be in front of my computer. And I try not to do this a lot of times, but basically the problem is this. So I left digital for almost everything and just went analog. And it works, but it works for me. And I understand that when we work in a team and we need to share information, it's a lot harder, of course. And in some clients, I do feel this problem, but we try to fill the gaps with Dropbox or OneDrive, and we share the files, and it is working. And but the other problem is that not everyone has the need to work like this. And it's very hard for me to talk them over to start using this app or that app, and then they try to share the information. So I just gave up. They know that I have everything in my Bujo, and I'm starting to get them in the same system of Bujo and try to work this way. There's no other choice or option right now. Just wanted to share a quick story about the level of community that is in Bordeaux. I mean, it's not surprising for any of you I know. But in the past, we used to have meetups in Paris. And one of the bullet journal people on YouTube, his name is Ricardo. You know who he is. Um, he he came to the bullet journal meetups, and this guy has like, I suppose, thousands and thousands of people on his YouTube channel. I don't think he's doing it anymore. But he took time when I couldn't see very well and sat down and helped me draw out my monthly spread for the things that I needed just for myself. I will never ever forget that. I mean, I was rather new, um, between married at that time. He just took all the time that I needed for him to take to help me get started. Or I had already been doing it for some time, and he helped me hold it into something that was really truly workable for me. So I think that the community is really strong, and I think that's for a lot of the appeal for people who are looking for an organizational system.
Thanks for sharing that.
Now the question is there anybody in here that's using, who has a digital bullet journal? Like I know that there's people who use, like, people are like, no. I know some people will they'll bullet journal in OneNote, or they'll bullet journal in Notability. Like there's apps out there that work good for it. I haven't found any that I would use, but I'm curious if there's anybody here that does.
Yeah, there's been a lot of talk about the Remarkable tablet as well. And I know Graham uses the Remarkable, and he designed this landing page, which we've now dubbed the dashboard, and allows him to like go to the right pages based on his dashboard. And I don't know if anybody here is doing something like that. Yeah, okay, Brian.
Who is this Graham person? Is he here? Show yourself. I want
I was a really big fan of the dashboard too. It was a very cool concept.
links or it didn't happen.
And with it, I'm still using it, and it seems to work. The Remarkable is basically just paper that's on a digital device. Right? It doesn't do much else. So it's not using a database in any way. It's simply writing onto a surface which is digital, which means you can erase it easily, you can move it around easily. It has those advantages. It has disadvantages as well, that you cannot flip through pages easily and see what's on another page really quickly. You have to kind of click around a bit. But it does work reasonably well. The more I use it, the more I get used to it. I do have a dashboard at the beginning of every month. So I have to create a new notebook every month, because otherwise there's too much flipping around. But at the beginning of every notebook, I have a dashboard, which is where I just begin everything. And that leads to other stuff. Now, I didn't call this a dashboard. I called it a habit list. And then someone in here kindly pointed out that it was not a habit list, it's a dashboard, which it is. Pull it up. There we go. So fairly simple. I should show you last month's. It's more exciting this month. Okay, so basically you have on a vertical just a list of things I need to check, say, every day. And then a list of things that I don't want to forget to do. Some of them are habits, and some of the things that if I don't do them, there'll be some kind of bad outcome. But then the way I turn that to a dashboard is simply adding things at the bottom. For example, there's a weekly list, and there's a monthly list, and there's other list that I put a little dot on the day when I plan to do that. I have all the days across the top. And so when that day comes up, I'll see there's a dot there, and I'll go over to the weekly list. My monthly list is set me to another list of things that I need to check on a less frequent basis. So I use this, and I find it's actually quite useful. It does not to do things that some of the digital tools, the things I've not been able to figure out how to do in other ways are defer items and hide them so you don't see them. That's one way of doing this. Is you put things on a weekly list, you can hide them somewhere else until they become relevant. I'm not really figuring out how to put firm deadlines on paper, which have things like reminders. Again, digital tools will allow you to do that. And paper and this Remarkable tablet really don't. And then changing things if I made a calendar on paper, as you say, things always change. And it gets really, really messy. And so this actually solves that problem.
You'd say that's the biggest advantage, is being able to sort of alter things where paper, would result in scratching out and whiting out and all that stuff? Or are there other advantages to it over paper?
That's the biggest advantage. And for me, that actually is a little subtle, but it means it's easier for me to just start writing stuff, because I'll say, oh, I have an idea. I'm making this kind of spread or this kind of day, and I'll just start scribbling. And it's much faster, because then if I make a mistake, I can go back and change it, but I have the freedom to just go ahead and do it. Whereas if I'm writing something on paper, I'm much more hesitant to actually write something new in a new method. And moving things around. Copying and pasting is useful as well sometimes. You can copy a list of dates, a list of numbers, or a list of days. You can copy and paste it as a template. That's useful as well.
Yeah, thanks for sharing that.
Yeah, I think there's so many questions that I think we would be able to talk more about in future events. I want to be thoughtful about time. Time flies when you're talking to people who understand like this thing that I like. My whole life is kind of in this journal, and it's really amazing that we get to hear from so many other people that they like get it.
We're going to start a petition so that you guys make these things an hour long and quit cutting us off.
Brian, I have another full-time job.
And you need money.
So I can do this on the side. But thank you so much for spending your time here. I know it's a variety of different time zones, which is why we move the time each month to a different time so that we get to see more of you. And we will be doing another event next week called Happy Hour. And that will be just a place for us to share like whatever it is that we're doing, ask whatever questions that we want, unrelated to the theme, related to the theme, geek out about showing each other our journals. And then office hours will be with Ryder. And Ryder does a lot of stuff in digital and analog. So if you have lingering questions over the next 2 weeks, definitely come to office hours where you can ask him directly yourself. And then the last event of the month, which is honestly one of my favorites, is Plan With Us, where Ryder walks us through the monthly migration process to set up for the next month. It's a really special event. So thank you so much for being here. We'll post the recording soon. And thanks for joining us from Singapore, Lynn. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's pretty wild. Yeah, good to see everybody.